my name is Len Goff and I've been with Viewpoint since about 2005. Well, I've had a history with Viewpoint, and up to about 2005 I was working as a mental health charity worker for many years. But I'd never disclosed to my employers that I had a history of mental health myself. And when I joined Viewpoint, they had something called a training for trainers, where they train experts by experience to go out and talk to groups of people about the lived experience of mental health. And that really made me more aware of who I was as a person, made me feel as though that I was worth something, and gave me the confidence to not be ashamed of who I was really. Well, I think what I've learned mostly is that you can learn from other people, you know, and I think we all have things that we can share with each other, and we can gain strength from that, I think. But I really enjoy being on the groups with Viewpoint and facilitating as well, because if you give people enough time and allow them to talk, you're going to learn an awful lot from them, you know, and in that respect we're all equal as people. Well, I've been running groups for a long time. I've been doing them since about 1985, you know, with the mental health charities. The difference is, what I've learned through running the groups for Viewpoint, is that we can share something of ourselves without having to expose everything about ourselves. That's not necessary. I think we can learn from each other because we can empathise with each other and put ourselves into another person's shoes, even though the experience is very different.
And online, have you learnt any new skills? You're now an IT wizard.
I had a great fear of technology before the lockdown came. I was always used to people at work doing the technology for me, you know, because I was a manager at one point. What I've learned is, I have learned some things. I know how to log in and to get onto the groups. I still have a fear of technology, a very great fear, because if things go wrong, I panic and I don't know what to do. I don't show it in my face, but I feel it. But I have learnt an awful lot through doing the Zoom sessions. Not just, I think, about the technology. It's about more how to pace yourself and to look at people on the screen, because you can learn an awful lot about people just by looking, I think. Well, I think they're more than important. I think they have to be a part of our lives, really, because it gives people a lifeline. It gives me a lifeline. I think we all come in from different baselines, aren't we? We all have different levels of illness and how we cope. I think we all have different ways of dealing with the lockdown and our mental health. And for some people, they're going to find it very, very difficult to get outside the home. You know, even when we do start to do the live groups eventually, we will still have to do Zoom, because some people will never make those live meetings. They don't want to go to them. They don't want to be in a group of people and feel intimidated and frightened, being around strange people and being frightened of what to say. But they feel much more confident online. And we have to recognise that some people just don't like groups anyway. You know, some people don't like small groups because there's not enough there's not enough time, I suppose, to get to know people. But some people detest large groups because they get overwhelmed. I'm a mixture of the two. When I go into a large group, I tend to clam up until I find the confidence to say something. You know, in a small group, I probably quite prefer it really because it's more intimate. The only challenge is I don't find a challenge in running a group. I mean, obviously, when you have somebody that talks all the time and they're dominating a group, you're kind of thinking inside your mind, how am I going to detour the person away from that and allow other people to talk? But that's very much up to the skills of the facilitator and not being rude and insulting to the person. I've never really faced a challenge that way, but I do have a challenge all the time about technology. It's always in the back of my mind, something's going to go wrong and I'm going to look like a fool, I'm going to look like an idiot, I'm going to look as though I don't know what I'm doing. So that's the challenge for me all the time. It's not something that goes away, but I think I controlled it on the camera. I don't show that, but it's really eating me up inside. I ran a group 4 viewpoint, and it was a peer facilitators group meeting, but it was a mixed group, you know, men and women, and it was a very successful group. And I just felt that, you know, that we all gelled together, and I worked well with the co-host. Well, it wasn't a co-host actually; she was equal to me. You know, there was no difference between the two of us. But we worked well together. She had the technology skills, I had the group skills, you know, and I really enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that. I just felt that everybody that attended that group got so much from it, and I think we could have gone on to another one after that. But obviously, you know, it was not on the cards at the time.
We're learning to lean on each other.
We leaned on each other. We didn't find fault with each other. You know, that's the main thing. You know, we weren't looking to pick up on somebody making a mistake or anything like that, or not even a mistake, just saying things that we don't necessarily agree with. You know, but people just leaned on each other. We had a respect and dignity within that group, which I think was very important. Well, I think it's going to draw in a lot more people. I think it can replace it, but I wouldn't like it to replace, you know, hands-on group meetings. You know, I'd like to see that stay, but I think the video is going to have a far more reaching effect than the hands-on type work. You know, when you're actually in a room with people. And as I said before, I think people will have a lot more confidence and self-esteem from that, because they know they're not under pressure to say anything, you know. It's been a tremendous impact for me, because I've been able to meet tremendous people through Viewpoint. You know, when you keep something to yourself for so many years, from 1964 right up until the time I joined Viewpoint in 2005, when you keep something to yourself, you know, you're in denial, you know, you live in some kind of a double life. That's the way I felt. It's almost like a psychopath, you know, it's like somebody else, you know, taking part in the work. But with Viewpoint, I know now, through the people that I've met, the tremendous people that I've met, not just in the groups that I've ran, and the talks that I've done for Viewpoint, but also in the groups that I join. there's some fantastic people out there, and they've got so much courage and strength and compassion that yes, we have to go it alone in the world. I know we do, but it's nice to have those people in the background. Should you ever come up against a psychological problem that you start to struggle with, you know you've got people to refer to and talk to. And they're not going to tell you what to do, they're going to listen, and that's what it's really all about, just listening. And it's almost like the earthquake theory, you know, before the earthquake, all of the animals scatter, they know it's going to happen. It's the same thing with viewpoint. People don't have to respond all the time, but you know that they understand what you're going through. And if they do need to point you in certain directions, then that's there as well. But that's what I think I've got so much from Viewpoint, and just being here today, I can feel that sense of compassion, that sense of wanting to help and support, just vibrating. And even when I walk away from here today and I get into my wife's car and we drive home, that will still be with me. It doesn't leave me because I've left this building. But that's me.